So it's over for Dr. Disrespect. He admitted that he was sexting minors. Reading that line in his tweet was enough for me. He admitted it. We got another one. So we can just end it there, but it's crazy how he refused to admit it for so long and then just admitted it outright, especially after how he had first addressed it in his tweet, saying that there was no wrongdoings, and then finished that tweet by saying Elden Ring Monday, which was a psychotic way of addressing this. Then, and especially now in hindsight, since he has admitted to it, so there was no real acknowledgement from him that this was bad or showing any remorse. I don't know if he was planning on admitting it in the first place when that recent tweet came out about him, but I think what he did actually poisoned the well a little bit, because it caused people to take sides, and then when he admitted it, he then had people still defending him because they had taken a hard stance on it days prior. But he did confess, and even says that the messages with this minor were inappropriate, but then he tried to save face by saying that nothing else happened, while also saying that people who do that are disgusting. Why is it okay for you then? And saying that his haters are the only ones going against him now after this, like you're a hater for thinking he's a sick fuck. I didn't give a fuck about him before, but I guess I'm a hater now because, like most people, I think that this is disgusting behaviour. And no one should be fooled into thinking that saying no wrongdoings is anything more than just lawyer speak that means you did that shit and there wasn't any consequences for your actions. And it made people assume that he did it, or at least lean more towards that direction because he didn't outright deny it. But it allowed there to be some doubt, and so some people were claiming that this was part of an NDA and that he wasn't allowed to address these claims in any way, even though an NDA for someone at his level, a multimillionaire who has options, he wouldn't agree to an NDA that prevented him from defending himself clearly, since he has now admitted to it. So why did he gaslight his audience into assuming that he couldn't address this and remain vague? Well, it's pretty simple. Obviously, it's hard to miss something like that, but I think it's also that he wanted to keep his audience and, of course, that money. He got to ride the whole I'm a victim thing from a supposedly fraudulent firing. He knew what he did and still thought he should play the victim, and allowed people to think that for years, making tons of money in the process, more than if he was just honest to begin with, and made it seem like it was an open shut case in his favour. Plus, he had lived in this character for so long, it's probably changed his psyche a bit. For what's been about, 4 years, he's probably convinced himself that he was innocent. Again, he admitted to sexting a kid, so this isn't important anymore, but I'm still disgusted by his attempt to cover this up further. That's basically what he did in the first tweet. So now he takes a big break and comes back, the heat is going to die down. There's still going to be people acting like he didn't do anything, or that what he did wasn't that bad. There's still people defending him now, expecting there to be more evidence other than him just outright admitting it. Like asking questions like how close to 18 they were and other stupid shit like that. He has admitted it himself. What more do you need? It's fine if you're reserving judgment before, but he has now admitted it, and there's no evidence that this individual was even close to 18, so it's insane that people are immediately jumping to that as if it's a fact in an attempt to defend him. A lot of big streamers are still not taking a hard stance on this, or before this were dismissing the claims as if they were completely baseless, like the Act Man and nickmercs. But some people were reserving judgment, like Asmongold, well, that's the way it seemed. But when it came out that Dr. Disrespect did that shit, he seemed to still be a bit on the fence, instead of outright condemning him, saying shit like, did he know that they were a minor?
Did he know that they were a minor? Like, that's kind of a big deal to me, right? Did he know that? He did? There's no instance that happened. It sounds like it. Sounds implied that he did. Okay, so we don't know that. Yeah.
Yes, he did know, and if he didn't care to know because he didn't ask. And one thing that he said that I thought was very odd was whether the messages should be revealed publicly. He said that Dr. Disrespect shouldn't release these messages, so he's acknowledging that this could be harmful to the individual, but he's also asking how old they are as if it's relevant now. We know that this was a minor. You can't downplay that fact and then be worried for this person's well-being. Either it's bad or it's not.
Yeah, probably sealed. And yeah, I don't think he should publish them, to be honest with you. Because if it was communications with a minor, like I don't want to see like a kid's like messages, right?
So when he says that, he sounds like he's still being a fence sitter. He says it's weird behavior, but it seems to have taken a lot out of him to admit that it's bad. He seems pretty stumped on whether he should condemn this or not. He's a sick fuck. It's not that hard to admit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like that seems it's very. Yeah. I don't know anything of the incident. I'd say it's definitely weird. I mean, I'll tell you that for sure, right? It's obviously weird. Now, like, if he had no idea that it happened, and, like, he didn't know this person was a minor, like, yeah, he's still an idiot for doing it, for sure, but, like, it takes, like, the bad scale from, like, I don't know. Like, it takes it down a number of notches to me, right? Because, like, doing something with intent is very different than doing it unknowingly. And, like, that's literally the basis of the law is intent, right? And so I think that's a pretty important component here. And I wish I knew what the answer to that was.
I'm not necessarily saying that he is defending this shit, but asking how old they are makes it sound like you're doing that whole thing of, well, are they turning 18 so it's not that bad? That's how it sounds anyway. Which is bad because there's already a bunch of people doing that, which are basically defending statutory rape, where they say that 17 is close enough to 18 so it's not a big deal. Okay, well over here the age of consent is 16, which is still considered a minor in every other way, in fact. So should that logic apply over here as well? I mean, 15 is close enough to 16, and there are other countries where it's even lower. Should that logic apply there as well? You see, at a certain point, you're basically saying that the age isn't that important. If anything, these laws need to be protected more, not being undermined by a bunch of sick freaks pretending to be philosophers and pseudo-intellectuals. As if any of this really matters anyway, because this guy's in his late 30s and this person could have been, 17 and 11 months. It's still fucked up. If you can't find someone at least 20 when you're that old, you should be treated like a fucking weirdo. When he does finally come back from his hiatus, assuming he doesn't completely leave the limelight, the heat is going to have died down. He's still going to have a pretty big audience. There are other people who have done crazy shit, probably even worse than this, that have maintained big audiences, big celebrities and YouTubers, so it's possible that this works out for him because unfortunately, he's not going to suffer any real consequences for this, as technically what he did isn't illegal, and we know this because it's pretty hard to convict people of sex crimes, even ones with minors. You could text and show up and meet someone and it's still going to be difficult to charge you with any crime. Just look at EDP. There's a few interesting questions surrounding this whole thing though. Like, why it took Twitch so long to ban him, because apparently what he did was actually 3 years prior to that. So did they know earlier or not? Or was this a response to a repeated offense? Like, did Twitch give him a warning the first time and he did it again? I don't know. Why did they settle in court with him when this seems to me like a pretty reasonable reason to fire someone? Plus, they could have told everyone what it was before he had a chance to sue them, and maybe it would have looked bad in the eyes of the public, and then maybe he wouldn't have sued them. Interesting questions that we'll probably never find a solid answer to. So more degenerate streamers getting outed is nothing new. It seems like if you're a top streamer or just a streamer in general, there's a good chance that you're a sick freak too. It's funny to me now remembering that I had a comment ages ago saying I was copying Dr. Disrespect because I was wearing sunnies in a video while indoors. So I'm glad he's gone and now I'm the guy who wears the glasses indoors. Little did they know that this was my plan all along, to take him down and then take his place. What the fuck is that? Oh, police officer. I'm not really him.